please stand and say pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I always forget what the flag is.
Yes. Well, thank you for attending. We appreciate it. We always like to have the public here so they can hear and see what kind of activity takes place at county government. And with that, I will move on. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Does that mean both?
We've got two sets of.
We have two sets of minutes.
Yeah, I would so move on both CD 25021 and CD 25022.
Second have that, all right. Is there any remarks for the minutes or changes or seeing none? Those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Informational reports and presentations? Mr. Manager, do we have?
Nothing this evening.
Nothing this evening. All right, then we'll move to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
That would be 25-089, 90, 91, and 92.
We can't hear you.
With no comments?
Can't hear you. We have a motion on the floor to move consent agenda items 25-089, 25-090, 25-091, and item 25-092 from the consent agenda. There's a motion on the floor.
Seeing no discussion, those in favor?
All right.
Consent agenda passes unanimously. New business.
I'd like to make a motion for item 25093, authorization of the county manager to submit the county's 2024-25 consolidated annual performance evaluation report, also known as CAPER, C-A-P-E-R, to the Department of Housing and Urban Development.
I second.
Discussion?
I just want to, add a comment that this comes around every year. This is not a new item for us. This is normal course of business. I just want to thank all the staff who's involved with making sure that we secure the funds to help our folks in the community, particularly those vulnerable folks who are maybe marginalized, housing, things of that nature, support services for folks. So it's money well spent, and I appreciate the work that's done on behalf of the city staff. Thank you. County staff, sorry, county staff. City, county.
James.
CDBG manager Courtney Kemp is here this evening to present a short presentation just outlining the outcomes and successes that we've had in spending the money on different subrecipients. If I could ask Courtney to go up to the podium.
Thank you. Okay, so this, that is not. Show. Screen. Yeah. One.
Throughout this slideshow will be some accomplishments that have happened throughout the year. These are all captured in the paper that is submitted to HUD. Just a little snapshot to give some examples and some pictures of the projects of all of the excellent things that are done with the CDBG dollars. So some background for the CDBG grant. All of Cumberland County except Portland and Brunswick does receive these fundings. South Portland and the town of Bridgeton have a set aside for the county funds. The 2024 allocation was just over 1.5 million, and that is split between the county, South Portland, and Bridgeton. The county also gets home funds that is administered by the city of Portland, and we do have we work with the city of Portland on how to fund those home projects throughout the year. Some highlights for this year is we did spend just over 1.5 million throughout the program year for CDBG. There were 12 homes repaired through Habitat for Humanity in the home repair program, and there is about 10 to 12 more queued up that are in the works right now. With that 2024 program year dollars. 258 families were served by the Bridgeton Food Pantry. Although that is a large number, it doesn't really show how many people really go there because they spend their funds so quickly in just July and August. So if we were to track throughout those whole 12 months, I would imagine that number would at least double. 289 victims of domestic violence received safe and confidential service and access to resources. 275 seniors were delivered weekly meals to their homes from Southern Maine Agency on Aging. Again, this is also just tracking from July and August because they spend their money so quickly. 52 families received assistance finding and moving into permanent housing and assistance to stay in their current housing. 179 individuals received assistance and referrals to resources such as fuel assistance, shelter referrals, elder services, transportation, and financial management through the budgeting, and that's through the Bridgeton Navigator program. There was 101 adult or elderly individuals that attended digital literacy classes, cooking, public transit, and other education workshops and classes. And there is 15 individuals, primarily elderly, that will have access to a key lock box for emergency services so that they can enter the home safely without ruining their homes with easy access. One of the construction projects that did get finished up this year is Bridgeton Church Street that had program year 23 and 24 within this. This connected the inner and outer corridor of the town of Bridgeton. The library is at the bottom of the hill. The top of the hill is the hospital and other mental health services. The Yarmouth Community Center has a new roof and sprinkler system. They were at risk of being shut down from the fire department without this sprinkler system in place. During COVID, they did get an extension, and so we were able to get the whole system in place and a new roof, and now this is a fully functioning, safe building. Standish Mill Street Park, this was program year 2023 funds that was finished this year with a new basketball court, playground setup, and a pavilion. A lot of the residents within the area and throughout Standish actually stepped up to volunteer to help with this project and clean up the trails. So it was really a good town project with everybody involved. The Wyndham Main Street sidewalk, which is very long if you've traveled through Wyndham. It was a lot of traffic, a lot of signs, and a lot of sitting and waiting. This is actually near two other CDBG projects, was the Red City Ale House, as well as the parking lot that the town of Wyndham can use. And they paired this with the wastewater project as well. South Portland Preble Street Kitchen. This had CDBG dollars from Cumberland County, Portland, and it had Cumberland County ARPA funds as well. So this is the old kitchen that they used to work out of. It's all right here. And we just got a tour last week, and it's absolutely fabulous. This is the new setup. There's a baking station. These are the combination ovens. You can set it and forget it, put your recipes in there for the day, and it helps keep things moving with the limited amount of volunteers they have. There's a hotline, processing equipment. And this is the walk-in cooler and walk-in freezer. They are able to, when they get their big shipments, they're not worried about turning things around so quickly. They're actually able to save the food and make the meals appropriately, which is fabulous. And the home updates with this is the Meadow Group phase is now complete and fully spent out and running. Betsy Ross Crossing, South Portland, they have their certificate of occupancy and tenants are starting to move in and they're doing a big ribbon cutting actually next month. So that's really great. And that's that. Questions?
Thank you, Courtney.
Are there any questions for Courtney?
Great job.
Good. Thank you, Courtney. So I believe we have a motion on the floor. Is there any further comments? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion for 25094?
Move fund it, move approval.
Second?
Jim, do we have any comments on this?
This item is being brought forward again by Courtney in combination with our consortium that we are with the City of Portland for home funds, in particular home ARPA funds in this case. And Courtney would like to go over the projects that are being proposed here tonight.
So for home ARP, the goal is to fund development projects primarily, as well as supportive services for the qualifying populations, which is homeless, at risk of homeless, fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, and others at risk of being homeless. So the development is youth and family outreach. They are hoping to construct an expanded childcare that will allow 60 new affordable rental units in Portland, including 10 units designated for the home ARP qualifying populations. They are asking for $950,000. Greater Portland Family Promise, they are hoping for $479,000 to rehab a two-family home that will then be a transitional housing for up to 18 months for those QPs to then, in hopes, be able to be out on their own. And while they are living there, they're also going to receive all of those supportive services while staying there. So those are the two development. Our current allocation for that is $2,041,266, and the total request is about $1.4 million. So we do have leftover remaining in that pot of funds right now, about $612,000. The supportive services are Common Space, and they're going to be doing peer support, recovery coaching, and they asked for $471,000, a little above that. Milestones is looking to serve the qualifying populations of the Home Team, HOPE program, and Housing Navigation program. So this all is kind of wraparound surrounding on housing and hoping to have people stay and learn how to be in housing as well. Preble Street is asking for $350,000, or we're recommending $350,000 for case management, client assistance, and other supportive services for those QPs. They did ask for more than was in the supportive services, and we do have the leftover that's in the development, about $600,000. For right now, Cumberland County and the City of Portland is hoping that there may be more development programs or projects that are going to come forward. So we're going to leave the hope is to leave the $600,000 right now in the development. If we see that this application is still not being fulfilled with development, then we'll come back and discuss moving that over to the supportive services to fill the gaps.
Thank you, Courtney.
One comment for Courtney. So Courtney, I think, I guess that probably was an internal decision about the $600,000 that we want to kind of maintain and kind of wait and see approach, which I just want to say, I think that's, in my opinion, a good tack to take, just because as things develop, I feel like you have a very broad scope of services and populations that you help through these dollars, and I think, you don't know what's going to come, so kind of save a little bit. You don't know what the next need might be or where the need is greatest, so I really appreciate your fiscal responsibility with this, but also setting it aside so that we can react and respond, hopefully in a positive way. If something comes up, we have the money to support that, so thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments? See none, thank you, Claire.
We vote on that.
We need to vote.
We need to vote on that one.
Are there any further discussion on this? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Mr. Chair. Oops, I'm sorry.
We're also supposed to have a public hearing on this, I think.
Oh, it's just the one that's got the public hearing.
I think so, but.
So you need to what?
So if there's is public comment, then that's, the public has comment.
On what you just presented?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll open it up for public comment. Public comment on the presentation that just occurred. Does anybody have anything that they would like to share with that?
Yes, George Rowe, thank you for observing your public hearing obligations. Hopefully you know them as well as I do, but I'm glad you recognized me. So as part of this item, there is the destruction of a 175-year-old landmark in my neighborhood, in the West Bayside neighborhood, the Preble Chapel, which was built in 1851 with the help of Mary Preble, who was both part of the Deering family and also the famous Preble family, the famous naval hero in our first few decades of our country's history. But her family, through both sides, they go back to the pre-revolutionary era of Portland and Falmouth, which was obviously basically Cumberland County for all intents and purposes. And I'm asking you not to join the Chapel Killer Club. And that club, unfortunately, has been growing for the last couple of years with this proposal. Historic preservation is tough. We have a lot of old things in Cumberland County, and sometimes they have to give way. Obviously, I think most of us are familiar with the Portland Museum of Art tussle, but at least there was a debate. That got a lot of headlines. There was a lot of discussion. There was a lot of discussion of the actual history in the building. And with the Preble Chapel, there has been none of that. So some of you might not even understand what I'm talking about because it's been that hush-hush. And I don't think that's how Cumberland County should be doing business. If this building should be saved, there should be a robust debate, and that hasn't happened. But most importantly, there's a real fair housing issue here. On the peninsula in Portland, there are literally hundreds of properties that have been given historic designation. In my neighborhood, virtually none. In fact, I think technically zero. And so the fact that this building is marked for extinction, and the two people that are driving this, one is Michael Bork, who runs MEMIC, which is one of the biggest corporations in southern Maine, and Nancy Brain, whose family has her own private foundation. So both of these two people are big movers and shakers, and they would never let something important, especially a historic landmark that has 175 plus years of history, be demolished for any reason, whether it's affordable housing or childcare expansion or whatever, luxury condos. They would fight tooth and nail, and they actually have. Both of them are on record in various places as saying they don't want stuff like this in their neighborhoods. But my neighborhood's different. It's treated differently. But this Preble Chapel has been an incubator for progressive social causes since its beginning. It was created because the rich people at First Parish were uncomfortable with too many poor people coming into their church. So they literally created another program where they kind of shove off the poor people. And you should be recognizing that history, and please do not destroy this chapel with your funding. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Any other comments?
What's the Wi-Fi password?
That's a question.
I have no question.
Cumberland, all lowercase.
Thank you. Should be posted somewhere, just that's my comment.
Duly noted.
Do we have any other comments, Jim?
Mr. Chairman, in light of the comments we just received, we have another public hearing in a month on this item, and perhaps we can get some background on what is being discussed here. And what further approval of processes might apply beyond the CDBG action. I assume the city of Portland, which has a historic preservation operation of some substance, would have some opinions about what happens next and related to that. And they have a lot more permitting authority than we do. So I would ask that be done if it's possible. Thank you, Courtney. And it looked like your son was doing a great job with that.
I'm surprised that the city hasn't said something.
We'll see what they say.
Yeah.
They're doing their public comment periods at the city as well, and the committee had recommended this be brought to the council. So they'll be going through their process. I think they've had their first meeting. And I can check in with Mary over at the city of Portland about that.
There's really not enough bailiwick, but appreciate that it's brought forth. Is there any other comments? With that, I'll close public hearing. And I guess we now need to vote. Those,
There'll be another hearing next month.
right, yeah. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can we take one matter out of order just as a courtesy to Ms. Jennings? And I would ask that we move 25096 and just swap it with 25095.
I have no objection. Does anybody in the,
I second the motion. Would like it read all the way through.
Yes.
I second the motion.
read the motion?
Yeah, and what I would do is move 25096, which is the adoption of the successor collective bargaining, I can't even talk, bargaining agreement with the Cumberland County Teamsters, Local 340 Law Enforcement 2025 to 2028, executive session optional prior to vote.
Do we need an executive session?
I need signatures, yes.
Yeah.
Please.
So I need a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Any comment? Those in favor?
Aye.
We're in executive session. It is 5:50.
Mr. Chairman, could we mention what we, usually these executive sessions might last somewhere between 5 and 2 nights. But usually a lot quicker than that for this kind of item, but we do have some stuff we have to discuss in secret, so. Probably 10 minutes maybe.
Okay, so the next item of business is,
I'd like to make a motion, please, for item number -095, the appointment of the following elected officials to the county 2025-26 Finance Committee for a 3-year term to be named in this season.
Second.
Jim?
This evening, through the caucus that was held by each commissioner district, new appointees to the Finance Committee from District 1, Jonathan Anderson from the town of Scarborough. District 2, Connie Justice from the town of New Gloucester. District 3, Corinne Orstein from the town of Yarmouth. And then that is it. We have 2 already on the Finance Committee, so those are the new names being brought forth this evening for a term starting in 2025 and expiring in 2028.
I'll second that.
Wait a minute, Jim, did you indicate the guy from Cumberland?
No, because he's already serving on a 3-year term.
And Mr. Chairman, could I mention, they're not on the agenda tonight, but there are at least two, if not three, Fulton City councilors that are considering appointment, requesting to be appointed, including one which would actually be eligible also to serve as a representative of District 4 if that ends up being the consensus. I informed them that I would be bringing forward whatever the results of their caucus are at our next meeting.
Does everybody understand?
Yeah.
And we need a vote on this?
Yep.
Yes. So we're voting on those names that were mentioned and holding open the names that may come forth.
Yes.
Is that everybody's understanding?
Yes.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Authorize the establishment of a fire EMS advisory committee. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
James?
This item is being brought forth to bring forward the establishment of a fire EMS advisory committee. This advisory committee's purpose is to aid and guide the fire EMS coordinator who has been hired by the county to work with each of the 28 towns' fire departments on a variety of issues, whether it's hiring, training, collaborative mutual aid agreements, collaborative purchasing of fire-related or EMS equipment, and the list goes on and on. So this item is to establish the advisory committee. That is a advisory committee that would be making recommendations to the county commissioners. And then the county commissioners have final say on anything that moves forward from there. And this item is ready for commissioners' review and approval.
Move passage.
Second.
And, Mr. Chairman, I have a proposed amendment, if I may.
Nope, that's not this one. We got one more
One more to
item.
go, next one.
The appointments.
I have a comment, Chair.
Yep.
I just want to make a comment about this advisory committee. I just want to point out, I think we've been talking about this for a while as commissioners, but as lots of towns struggle with their budgets and who can afford a fire truck these days is beyond me with the price. I think, we're moving in the right direction to have more of collaboration for EMS and fire so that we can work together and have, a meeting of the minds, share the resources, because it gets tighter and tighter to do these things within each and every community, so that I believe this is where the county can be of help to make sure that we try to muster our resources and try to get the best bang for the buck by creating this coalition. So I'm excited we're moving in this direction as a county, and I appreciate the next item coming up, that people have stepped forward to help us get this off the ground. Thank you, Chair.
Any, James?
I actually compliment the chair, who for the last couple of years has constantly reminded us all that there's a variety of new state and federal training and other requirements that are directed at public safety operations. And so this is timely, and it might be a little slow getting here just because those are likely to be current, and they're gonna cause a lot of problems. There's a lot of reliance on volunteers, even in southern Maine. And it wasn't that long ago that there were municipalities that had no full-time fire and always tried to contract their med-Q opportunities. That is going to be a bygone era pretty soon, and I think I think it was all the communities that believed that this was something that was really important to them because the changes were coming forward. So Steve has done a good job of being alert to that, and I think this is a good step forward.
Thank you, James. Appreciate that. Any other comments?
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I would add to that is what it is the OSHA rules that are coming down and require a certification for firemen. And it means that most people that are in their 50s are not going to be able to qualify. So it is coming upon us soon. With that, I'll take a vote on that. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Again, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. Let's see. where
Mike,
are we? Need a motion to appoint the following slate of cross-insurance arena trustees to the 3-year term.
no, chiefs. It's item 25-09.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Yep.
okay. I'll make the motion. 25-098, appointment of the following fire chief officers to the county fire EMS advisory committee.
Second. And I have a proposed amendment to the,
Prior to Jim's amendment, I would just announce the names to be brought forth. For District 1, Fire Chief Rich Kinderlin from Scarborough. District 2, Fire Chief Brent Libby from Wyndham. District 3, Fire Chief Mike Rubatelli from Yarmouth. District 4, Assistant Fire Chief Gary Wagner of Westbrook. And one of the at-large positions, Fire Chief Brian Cole from Casco. And then,
my amendment would, pleased to see that the chief of the Portland Fire Department, Chad Johnson, has expressed interest in being on part of the group as well.
Super.
And I would move to amend the pending order to add Chief Chad Johnston.
I second.
Those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 20.
You got it.
Yeah, the cross-insurance arena trustees to a 3-year term.
So moved?
Second.
James?
trying to catch up. Bringing forth the following names for a 3-year term to the Cross Insurance Arena Board of Trustees. District 2, Susan Wittonis from the town of Casco. District 3, John Crimmins from the town of Brunswick. And an at-large spot, Steve Woods from the city of Portland.
Any comments? Discussion? Do I recognize Sue Wittonis?
I think we've heard of her.
Yeah, how do you spell that?
If I could provide one bit of clarification, these terms would revert back to January 1st of this year. We had some delay because, as the commissioners know, we went to the state legislature to change the state statute around the districts that the trustees serve, and to mirror the same towns within each district in the county commissioners. And so we were about 6 months and lag time, and then we had to advertise, and so we're just getting around to finally appointing, but it would be a term that started January 1st, 2025.
Calendar year, all right. We don't need a motion on that, do we? To change
Yeah,
the,
there was a-
No.
that's all. So those in favor?
Aye.
It passes unanimous. Authorize the county manager to sign a 5-year lease with Power Play LLC, Maine Mariners Hockey, item 25-100. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you. For the last 8 months, we have been negotiating a new lease agreement with the Maine Mariners hockey team, the local ECHL team that calls the Cross Insurance Arena home. Over those 8 months, I think we've been back seeking guidance from the county commissioners as well as the Board of Trustees for the Cross Insurance Arena on different aspects of the contract. And we feel as though this contract that is before you this evening is within the guidelines as set forth by the trustees and the commissioners, and is a win-win contract for not only the hockey team, but also the county and the Cross Insurance Arena. So I'd ask that you support this contract, and let's get playing some hockey. Thank you.
Any comments?
Move passage.
Long road, but we got there.
Just make a comment that I think, with all the changes to the hockey team and the contract, it's nice to see a 5-year lease. Through negotiations, you always look at how long do we want this lease to go. I think the stability of having a hockey team in Portland is important. A lot of people enjoy that, and I think a 5-year lease really helps everybody put some roots down, and hopefully, we can turn the page and not worry about negotiating another lease contract again, at least in 4 years or so. So good luck to the team this year, and hopefully all goes well.
Any further comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So the next item is,
Make a motion for item 25-101, adopt the county commissioner's public participation policy effective immediately.
I second.
any comments? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
We have a public comment on it?
Got to public.
We're gonna have a public comment on it, all right. Do we have any speakers from the public to comment on the proposed policy? There's a 3-minute time limit.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Todd Creech, and I live at 1917 Washington Avenue. I will speak very briefly. I'd like to commend the Commission on its ability to change its procedures rapidly, with little rancor, without much public notice, and I hope that you are able to do that for items that are about to be spoken about in a few minutes. There's no reason this has to take, as you have just proven, there's no reason it has to take months to study a question. You can put something on the agenda, you can take a vote, and you can change your internal processes, you can change your precedents, and you can change what you're doing. So I'm glad to see the Commission is able to do that, and I look forward to them doing that in other venues as well. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Brendan McQuaid. I live in Portland. I chair the Sociology and Criminology Department at USM, and I organize with No Ice for Me. I speak not from my employer, but from the same commitments that guide my teaching, scholarship, and organizing. I come here tonight in anguish and outrage at your misaligned priorities, your repeated failures to act on ICE, and your initiative to restrict comment.
That's
Two issues can be related.
That's not the topic. The topic is the policy.
I'm going to talk about the policy.
3 minutes.
Can you give me 3 minutes to speak?
If it doesn't apply, if you're not talking about ICE.
I'm talking about ICE and public comment.
No.
They are.
It's connected.
No, it's not.
You did this because of
they are.
ICE.
It is not. We're talking about the policy.
Okay, I will talk about the policy. Your proposed limits on public comment. Despite the chair's objections, the restriction of public comment and cooperation with ICE are not separate issues. They are two sides of the same authoritarian creep that the Greek scholar Nikos Poulantzas called authoritarian statism. So Poulantzas was exiled from Greece for opposing the US-backed military junta in the late 70s. And what he said at that time, in a very prescient analysis, was that states were going to increasingly turn to authoritarian measures to preserve order, if not legitimacy. He specified two primary areas. One, more punitive carceral policies, like we're seeing with ICE. And two, the restriction of democratic spaces, what you are doing right now. So, and why is this happening? This is happening because of political economy, right? Because of what we call globalization, because of the internationalization of production and finance have meant that states cannot exert control over the economy. So if politicians can't make the economy work for the people, they make people work for the economy. So that is precisely what you are doing, right? ICE cooperation turns immigrants into disposable labor and political scapegoats for a bankrupt elite that offers us nothing but enemies to demonize. Your participation, public comment policy chokes off democratic spaces. It fabricates procedural legitimacy while eroding real participation, right? So one policy detains, the other silences. Both preserve the status quo. So I will be very blunt. You are fascists and cowards. Fascists for protecting an institution that terrorizes the marginalized, and cowards for hiding behind procedures while families are being torn apart.
Time. 3 minutes, yeah.
You must do 3 things: cancel the contract, don't vote on this policy, and acknowledge the rising authoritarianism and refuse complacency, right? The people demand it, justice and democracy demands it, Gerald Talbot demands it, his legacy.
Good evening. My name is Shoshana Hose. I live in Portland. I'm asking you tonight to consider handling public comment the way that the Portland City Council does, which is to set aside an hour at the beginning of your meeting for comments that are not related to the agenda. I think that shows a lot of respect for the community, and it ensures that you hear from residents about things that are on their minds. It makes it easy for them to participate rather than having to wait till the end of the meeting. So anyway, I ask you to consider that change in your policy. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lucy Schulman. I live here in Portland, and I'm just not going to waste your time. I just want to make sure that you are aware of the other way to shorten public comment, which is to give the people what they want. Thank you.
George Rowe, West Bayside here in Portland. I just wanted to comment on the policy. I think that you giving time to think about your policy and to update it and to put it forth tonight is a good thing. This inevitably, for controversial topics like the ICE issues that obviously are important to many people in this audience tonight, it's a safety valve for you. As public servants, you are going to have some tough nights in this job, and that's why not too many people want these jobs. But the fact is, you giving this opportunity for people, if you read your policy carefully, you allow unlimited written comment before, during, and after the public comment period. That means that you have no problem with people reaching out to you in written form. But written form has its limitations, right? It's written, it's not spoken, it doesn't require someone to attend your meetings and to see you in action. And I think that's good civic hygiene to give people an opportunity to come here. A conservative podcaster was recently killed, and a lot of people who think that that person, was a very laudable, admirable person, talked about the free speech that that person's legacy supposedly embodied. Well, free speech is exactly what public bodies in the United States should be endorsing and should be encouraging and should be welcoming. We know you have a meeting here. This is your meeting, it's not my meeting. It's not everybody else's in the audience meeting. You have business to conduct. We understand there's going to be some feasible, practical limits to that. But you should be courageous enough, knowing you are a public body, to not be afraid of that safety valve of public comment.
Right.
And to be able to, sometimes, I don't know which way it goes. You don't have to listen, but you have to hear, or you don't have to hear, but you have to listen. Anything we all say can be, water off a duck's back. But we do want to believe that we matter. And our words to you are important enough for us to get in our car, on our bicycle, walk over here, take a bus, and speak to you directly, because that's why there's a Maine law that requires you to do this, right? I also think that, it would be great if you had your little 3-minute timer somewhere where people can see it. But also, please, make this part of your meeting hygiene. You should be calling out for public comment. Twice tonight, I had to shout from the back of the room for you to honor the public comment opportunity that you're providing. You honored it. You heard me shouting and you made it happen. But it should be you bringing it forth, not someone having to shout from the back of the room. Well, thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Al Cleveland. I live in the city of Portland. The easiest way for you all to not have to listen to hours and hours of non-agenda public comment is by putting things on your agenda. If it's an agenda if it's an agenda item on your agenda, then that's when people are supposed to speak. But this commission has refused to put this question on your agenda, even though you're around ICE, even though you're asked over and over again. And now you're trying to curtail the democratic process. You're trying to tell your constituents that they don't have room for them, you don't have room for them at your meetings. But you all represent us. You are here because you work for us. And as you are knowing, there's a growing group of people who are paying attention to the county government. There's a growing group of people across the state in Cumberland County that are recognizing that this current county commission, you all are not representing the interest of your constituents. And you all should be very worried about what happens when you curtail the democratic process. It means you won't all be sitting here in a few years. I think you all need to represent your constituents, you need to listen to them, and you need to put the agenda items requested by them on your agenda for the October meeting. Thank you all.
My name's Rebecca. I live in South Portland, and I've done your job. I did it at the national level, on the National School Board Association. I've done it at the local level with our local school board, and I've done it on the state level with both the State School Board Association and the Local Government Center, which is New Hampshire's main municipal association. I am here to say to you that no good or forward motion will come from stoicism and faces that are not open to the public. The Maine Municipal Association has a statute that you've used to justify this public comment policy. You do not have to follow 3 to 5 minutes. When people need to talk about situations, your job is to listen. I had to pass a $48 million bond, a $40 to $48 million bond between 8 communities. And every single night I was out at a different community talking about what we did and how we accomplished the funding mechanism for the bond and for the different communities to participate in that bond. Your job is to hear people, and creating a team of rivals, putting together differing opinions is what you need to do. This is my first time here. I'm new to this, so I don't know everything or anything really. But I do know that public comment is the lifeblood of doing what you want to get done. I should talk.
I'm just wondering, at what point are you opening the public for to talk about ICE?
After this.
Anybody else have to go?
So we have no more comment for this particular vote. Right, I'll close public comment. Do we have any discussion from the?
I've got just a few points to discuss before we take a vote. Just so people are clear with the conversations that the commissioners had at a workshop regarding this policy, We did talk about having public comment in the beginning, we talked about having it at the end. There was thought and discussion around that. Some people put the point across that some people are trying to get their kids to bed, or they had sports and schools and they wanted to eat, and so a later time would be better than an earlier time, because people maybe couldn't get here at 5:30. So that was discussed, whether we got it right or wrong, or we should look at it again. I'm open to all of that, but just so you know, we did talk about what's best. It's not about what's going to shut down public comment, when can we get the public comment, what's helpful for people's lives. We might have hit it right, we might have hit it wrong, but we did talk about before or after.
Yeah, you got it wrong.
Just so you know, and then the other thing that I just want to clarify is that, personally, in my opinion, I'm not afraid of public comment. I try to be an active listener. All of us are different, we have different styles. I'm not afraid of public comment. I would hope we would have public comment. From 2006 to 2014, and I'm not alone in this, I've been serving as a city councilor in South Portland, where there was long meetings about really difficult things, and they went on and on. It would have been midnight before we left. I was there. I understand what public comment's about. I was there on the other side commenting to my town. So if you want to know how I feel about public comment, I'm not trying to shut it personally. I'm not trying to shut it down. We're not trying to shut it down. We believe in it. We're just trying to also make sure we get our business done, we hear from the public, and hopefully we all can hear each other and listen respectfully to one another. Even if we disagree, we try to be respectful to one another. Hopefully, through this policy, which covers some decorum, we're able to have a conversation, to listen, to learn, and try to work together. Will it always work? Probably not, but that's our goal and that is our intent, to have decorum, respect, to listen to the public as best we can. And I just wanted to put it out there to let people know that we just didn't throw this together. We surveyed Scarborough, South Portland, Portland. We went through all the different towns to see what did they do with their public comment. We just didn't pull it out of a hat. We took the time to see what might work. We had great discussion. I want to thank my commissioners for that. But I just feel like I have to say that because maybe you don't know. For this person, it's her first time here, they don't know. So I'm sharing that information with you to hopefully educate and just let you know how and why and what was debated to make this a policy that's working for everyone, not just the commissioners. Thank you for the time. Chair?
Thank you. Commissioner.
Yeah, I just want to add to Commissioner Smith's comments. I also served in a municipal capacity for 10 years on the Scarborough Town Council. And for those of you who may be from Scarborough or have heard about Scarborough, read about Scarborough, we'd have some late nights there. Public comment, whatever. Nobody's trying to shut down public comment. What we're trying to do is to structure our work time so that we can focus on the myriad of issues that come before us here or anywhere else. I'd like to remind all of you, I'm happy to read your emails. I've got an automatic bounce back that goes out that says, no, I'm serious. And I will answer you. I will answer you. So please,
Everyone on the,
I'm just talking about Jean Marie Caterina, okay? So please know that for me, written comments are more effective in many ways than to listen to the same thing over and over and over again, which is great. Please stop.
Jim.
Please stop. Please stop. This is my time to speak. This is why we have things like decorum and whatever. Okay? So I will support this change of policy. And I worked really hard on it and reached out to the different managers that are in my district. And I go from Scarborough, Gorham, Standish, all the way up Sebago, Baldwin, Bridgeton. And you have to understand that a pretty significant portion of my district, they wouldn't agree with you. They don't agree with me. So just, please stop. This is not your time to talk. And I will hand it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I come from a different realm from the standpoint, I've served in the legislature twice, 2 different terms, several years apart. In Augusta, if you want to testify before a committee, you must bring written copies of your testimony. Up there, they require 20 copies minimum. And then you get up and read your testimony before the committee. I was quite surprised and pleased that this is a much more open forum. I have no problem sitting here listening to what's going on. I take it all to heart. I do read all the emails. I am quite busy doing that. But I got 4 emails this afternoon within a half an hour before I arrived here. So I just didn't have a chance to answer them. But yeah, this is a much more open forum. And like Commissioner Davis said, we went through umpteen versions, and this seemed to be the most effective version for get our work done, and yet I accept the public comment. If you want to talk any length of time, I have no problem with that, but I think, and even in Augusta, they used to limit to 3 minutes. But they did make you provide written testimony, and you read off your testimony. You couldn't just wing it.
So what, we should be grateful that we're allowed to speak?
So I'm
When are
grateful.
you gonna listen?
That's a whole different story.
Well, we're gonna talk about it right now.
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. James?
Nobody's gonna get a chance to vote me out of office because I'm term limited, so what I have to say is. Good for you. The thing that bothers me a lot about this, and I don't like limitations on public comment, but I used to be on the Portland City Council for 10 years, and we never limited agenda items, and we would start debating something 7 hours into a meeting, well past midnight. And that's not a particularly helpful way to deal with public policy. So you gotta have some rules, and frankly, we used to have pretty strict rules about catcalls from the audience. That simply is so disrespectful to other people. And one of the first rules you gotta have in public policy and in public participation is everybody is entitled to respect. You don't get to deride people while you're sitting here in a public meeting. And frankly, one of the things that I have always believed, and I learned that from mayors of the city of Portland who had long experience and knew what they were talking about, and I think they were right. So, there's no perfect policy. My encouragement to you, I don't have admonitions for anybody. Everybody has a right to do whatever they need to do. But my encouragement to you is show some respect to other people.
Exactly. You show respect to immigrants.
Here's a perfect example of not doing it right there.
Okay, so I close public hearing, or public part of it, I guess I did already. Any other discussion on the?
No.
So those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. All right, now, I need a motion on adopt the county commissioners, comments from the public. The chair will limit the comments to 3 minutes per speaker, and we'll have 1 hour of comments.
Hi, my name is Maria.
Well, wait a minute, before we start, I've got something I'd like to communicate so that people will understand.
Please speak up.
Okay, I will. Before we open the public comment period, I'd like to inform you that at the request of Vice Chair Smith, we're having a workshop on this issue to revoke the housing of ICE prisoners. It will be held Monday, September 29th at 5:30 p.m. and will present the positions of those state and county organizations that affect this decision. So we have the other side of the issue. What I believe you'll sense from this workshop is the developing dilemma between the requirements of our laws governing the incarceration process versus the ethics of most citizens, and specifically many of the serving commissioners. Whereas our jails and county personnel are, by requirement, carrying out the laws of the state, please realize they have no ability to change such. That is the function of your legislature. Lastly, please be aware there is 1 hour time limit on this public comment period and 3 minutes per speaker. And essentially that translates into 20 speakers at most. So thank you. Continue.
Thank you. My name is Mariela Hakume. I'm a Daring High School social worker, and I'm also a Daring boys and women's varsity soccer coach. I'm speaking only as myself, but I think I also represent a lot of people here as well. First thing I wanted to comment on is, Jean Marie, you did mention that you don't like reading the same things over and over again, so that may suggest to you that in order to not read them over again, it's to take action. The other thing I want to address is respect. I do think everybody is entitled to respect, including immigrants, so I challenge you to think about that when you're making your decisions. The other thing I would like to ask everybody is, can you raise your hand if you're a parent in this room? And on the board, please. You don't want to participate?
Pet.
Parent. Okay, cool. Raise your hand if you love somebody. Anybody? You love anybody? You're not gonna raise your hand?
I'm not on the board.
My bad. Yeah, so I think we all love somebody, right? Raise your hand if you would do anything to keep somebody you love safe.
Yeah.
Of course, right? It's that simple. So, as a social worker, working with one of the most diverse populations in the state of Maine, I get the distinct privilege of listening to kids every single day, over and over and over again, talk about their kids, their parents being taken. Why do people hate me because I look like this? Why do people hate me because I speak like this? It wasn't my choice to come here. I faced horrors in my native country. I listen to it every single hour, and I'm pissed and I'm tired. We've all heard about the Talbot incident. That's one. As just one of 30 social workers in the district, we all have 40 kids that have been deported already. We just hear about certain things on the news. So when we say, look, we all love somebody, we would do something to keep them safe. So why is it so unimaginable that people would come here to get a better life? And your argument might be, oh, they need to do it the legal way. That can take decades to do it the legal way. The stories I hear, I could talk to you for a year talking about the trauma that I have to hold on to for these kids. Truly, it is no exaggeration. These parents are murdered, that they're coming from other countries, murdered. The students themselves have been raped. They've been human trafficked. We hear it every single day. It's not just a one-off story. I'm telling you, just in my school alone, it is a consistent story every single day. So one thing I challenge you is to think about that respect. Everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves it. We don't like when people judge us, so why are we judging these people that just tried to create a better life for themselves? Like, truly. The other thing that I want to just stress upon is, like, you may say that your hands are tied. They're never tied. We always have the decision to do the right thing. We always do. Especially for the parents in this room, or the aunts, or the uncles, or the friends. Your kids, your friends, everybody you know, they're going to ask, like they did when the Holocaust happened, like they did when the Civil Rights Movement happened. They're going to ask, where were you? What did you do? You have to go home. Each and every one of you, each and every one of us is going to have to answer that question someday. So do you want to be that person that said, my hands are tied, or I stood up and did something for my people?
I wanted to ask the woman that just spoke, what school are you serving, ma'am? And
Deering, she said.
You're at Deering? Okay. I hope you'll all come to the workshop, because there are some very difficult problems that we have to work around if we're gonna be able to do anything. So Commissioner Smith is responsible for that.
We can work through those problems.
It's complicated, let me assure you.
It's not too complicated.
It actually is.
Sorry, go ahead. I'll keep my remarks brief. I'm a naturalized immigrant. My name is Willie, by the way. I arrived here to the United States on a green card in 2008. I was 5. My grandmother and her sisters immigrated to this country without papers, and in the 1980s, and worked as undocumented nannies, house cleaners, and hotel workers. Their everlasting impact on those homes and hotels, literally and metaphorically, are undeniable. They fled an actual civil war that murdered hundreds of thousands, including family members of mine. They came here to be safe. She is naturalized now. My entire family is, as of last year, once my dad gained his citizenship, and we are all now citizens of the United States. I have family members and friends who are undocumented, whose possibly only crime is being a Dodgers fan. They serve every nook and cranny of our day is impacted positively by an undocumented immigrant who is frightened every day that their lives could be upended by the mere crime of existing. They serve Americans in restaurants, at hotels, and at schools. Recently, the United States Supreme Court gave way for ICE to use race as justifiable cause to stop individuals. Homes have been torn apart due to a systematically racist and xenophobic law enforcement system that aims to silence the voice of not just people of color and immigrants, but all Americans. Children have witnessed in horror as their parents are taken away to indefinite detention and possible deportation outside of their literal schools, their classmates too young to even understand what is going on. The onus is left on our community of social workers, educators, and neighbors to explain to our small children, possibly born here in Maine, children who look like me, to explain to them that their parents are locked away at a county jail, possibly to never be seen again. As you consider our county's jails and law enforcement relationship with ICE, and as ICE's scope to deport people and tear families and communities apart grows, I want you all to look at me. I am a hardworking Salvadorian immigrant, naturalized at age 14, the proud product of my grandmother's very, very brave decision to come to this country without papers. So will you let yourselves and Cumberland County be complicit in ICE possibly putting me behind bars? Thank you.
I'm Reverend Dr. James Gertmenian. I live in Cumberland, Forsyth, and I am the grandson of Armenian immigrants who escaped the genocide by the Turks nearly a century ago. I carry that in my heart. I know what it's like for a family to look to America as a place to be safe. I want to speak tonight about the fact that we face a time when it may be necessary to speak against rules that we usually just accept. And I want to say that when you all sit here and make decisions about what's going to happen in our county, we hope that you will rise above the easy decision, that you will rise above what is the easy way to go and stand for those who most need our help. As a clergyman, I am bound to care for the refugee, for the person who is running away from being persecuted. We have those people in our communities. To have them be persecuted here undermines everything that America stands for. I hope that as you consider what we have to do here in this county, you'll take into account that there are times when we have to move against the grain. This is one of those times. This is a time for you. You have the obligation, you have the opportunity, you have our permission to stand against rules that hurt people. I hope that as this conversation unfolds, you will see a way to stand for the immigrant, for the people who are in this country because they need to be, for those who have been pressured and hurt by the rules of this country. I hope that you will stand with them and stand with us to protect those people. ICE doesn't speak for us. ICE doesn't speak for the religion that I come from. 20 seconds. ICE stands over and against what we most need to do, and that is to put our arms around the immigrant and the refugee, the person who needs a safe place to be. Don't be complicit. History will judge us by the way we act in this time. Thank you.
Hi again. My name is Lucy Schulman. I live here in Portland, and until recently I was an English teacher at Portland Adult Ed, but I don't have a job anymore. So, way to stimulate the local economy. I'm real lucky that my ancestors were able to just show up at Ellis Island so that I could have the privilege of living and voting and paying taxes here in Portland, Maine, which apparently you guys did a bunch of stuff with. So, you're welcome. I vote. My whole family votes, not just once every 4 years. Every time I get to vote for something, I vote for it from president to senator, down to school board, water district trustees, and Cumberland County commissioners. By show of hands, who else here is suddenly very interested in county level elections? Yeah. I, for one, am not voting for anyone who isn't in my community's best interests. I'm not voting for anyone who doesn't have the guts to stand up and say to get this non-due process BS out of our home. The last time that I was here, I suggested that you folks grow some balls, which you have not done. I, for one, know my history, and I know what happens when some self-righteous masked zeros run amok in our community. Everyone in this room is going to remember who let it happen if we ever get to the ballots again. Is that the horse that the committee is backing in this race, that people will just never get to vote again? I hope not. If not, what then? You think that ICE money is going to do you any good when you have to file for unemployment in 2027? Is that your game plan? You say you have no choice. You have a choice. All of you have choices. You have the unimaginable privilege to sit here tonight and bleat about how your hands are tied. They aren't. And I'm just going to say it. I actually don't respect you, any of you. I don't respect what you're doing with your power and your privilege, which is nothing. You have choices. You have a responsibility to the electorate, not to your little federal buddies, to us. We are all here tonight to say, not here, not now, not with our consent. If you want my respect, make respectable choices.
So this isn't going to be like a gotcha thing. I want to say that what you do is hard, and it's not easy, and you have to have collaboration, and you have to have these workshops, and it's really important to do so. Oh, I'm Rebecca. I was here before. Sorry. I'm watching people look at each other. Who are you? Our law enforcement representatives do hard work. We need to help them complete their mission. Their mission is to build trust in communities, to maintain public safety, to prevent crime, and protect the community. When we are complicit with ICE by allowing our county jail to be the holding space for their stealing of people off the street, then what happens is it erodes trust. Law enforcement, whoever they are, whatever badge they're wearing, are seen as law enforcement, and it makes their job harder to get together with the community to serve that community. There's a misalignment of priorities. Now, I don't know if the Carroll County Jail, that's New Hampshire. The Cumberland County Jail is privatized, but if tax dollars, if tax dollars are being used for that, we need to align our priorities so that law enforcement, our local law enforcement can do their jobs without the impact of the federal government saying, we're gonna take this because we think we can. That's not complicated. What our president has done has really uncomplicated a lot because he just does things and says that they are true and that they are right. And at some level, we have to locally start resisting that. We need to resist. And you have an opportunity to do that. In that the decision of whether or not you're going to allow ICE to use the jail. They're using our people. I'm sorry? Oh, thank you. They're using our people, and that's not okay to complete their agenda. Detaining people without judicial warrants or identifying themselves is unconstitutional. It is against what we do as a community. I know, thank you very much.
How are you doing? Nico Jacobs from Portland. I just want to say, growing up, ICE did not exist. It does not need to exist. It's a completely extraneous department. We have police officers, we have Border Patrol, and we just have this extra department that came to being just as a whim, and now it's being used as a smokescreen by some guy in charge who's just using it to try and disguise from everything he's doing by destroying the economy rapid as he can, and putting people into prisons and things that do not need to be there, just to distract from the fact that he is an active pedophile and doing all these things with all of his people. And this is clearly just part of supporting that kind of agenda. And if we're just detaining people, letting crowds rot in our field, what do you think they're going to do with all the people they have detained and everything? Criminalizing homelessness, that kind of thing. They're just bringing back slavery with a new kind of twist to it. And are you guys comfortable with being complicit in the resurrection of slavery just to compensate some pedophile's ego? This is completely unacceptable.
Truth, yeah.
My name is Olivia Pennington. I live in Portland in District 5, and I'm a doula. I primarily work with women living in the Francis Ward House on Capissic Street, a home for immigrant women and their children. I work with women who have literally walked across continents to find safety and security for their children. I work with women who are fleeing genocides, women who have braved the Amazon jungle and gotten bitten by snakes and who kept walking, women whose husbands were murdered on their journey and they stood up and kept walking. I hold their hands, pray with them, dance with them when their babies take their first breath. I hold their children on my lap when they meet their new siblings. These women are caring, brave, fierce, good community members, and great cooks. They are my neighbors. Their children are our responsibility. And these women are terrified. They have crossed continents in search of a better life for their children, and now they live in fear that all of their work could be undone, that all of their persistence was in vain. I am here to remind you that those women, those babies, those families are your constituents. Literally, Mr. Cloutier, they are your constituents. It is your duty to protect them. I live in Portland now, but I was born and raised in Lincoln County. And I urge you to take a note from my beloved hometown and from Sheriff Todd Brackett, who I've known since I was 5 years old, and cancel the contract. Lincoln County refused to take a contract with ICE, refused to incarcerate immigrants in Two Bridges Regional Jail. Cancel the contract, choose your people over profits, and show a fraction of the courage that my doula clients have.
Just so you'll know, there's a number of people that are waiting outside in the corridor to come in. So if there's anybody that's spoken, that will leave and let them
Thank you
come
for
forward.
sharing that. I'll go. Back to our neighbors. Our neighborhood.
Hi, my name's Johanna. I live right here in Portland, Maine, and I'm here today to speak because I'm scared of what my future in Maine looks like these days. I'm 22 years old. I was born and raised right here in Portland, and my parents came to this country when they were my age, fleeing a war-torn country that's filled to the brim with violence and corruption. My parents worked really hard their entire lives right here in Portland to build a family, to educate me and my sisters, to be good friends, good hard workers, and kind people. And I've grown up believing that the work they put in to give me a good life was going to pay off, and I wouldn't have to be a part of another generation living in fear. But I come to you guys today because I'm disgusted. I'm sick to my stomach, and my skin crawls every day because I leave my house wondering if I'm gonna see my parents at the end of a long shift. I wonder if my friends are gonna get stopped in the streets, if my coworkers will get taken into unmarked cars, and I'll never hear from them again. I fear that my cousins, my brother, my uncles, aunts, family members, friends, strangers on the street that ride the bus with me, that walk the same direction as me every day, I fear that any one of us could wake up one day and have our entire lives flipped upside down, and you guys just aren't gonna care. Because we're brown, because we're hardworking people, because we're not rich elitists up in Washington that can do whatever they want. And just because our English isn't perfect, just because we talk a certain way, I'm scared that ICE agents are one day just going to be able to rip our communities apart, and you guys aren't going to say or do anything, that you aren't going to end contracts, that you aren't going to serve us as people that live in your districts. I grew up thinking that despite all the hate and the pain and the chaos in the world that exists, that things in Maine could and would be different, because that's what I've been told my entire life. But this isn't the way that life should be. We shouldn't all have to live in fear, and no one should carry this weight in their heart ever. And I urge you guys to listen to everyone in this room, to notice all the people that are waiting outside, look at your Instagrams, check your email, be aware that we're all living through this every single day. And it feels like we all constantly have to jump through hoops to get to you guys, to feel heard, to feel safe, to feel listened to. And I demand that you guys do everything in your power, and to do your jobs with empathy, and to do it with love, and to listen to the people that are voting for you, the people that are working every single day so that we can all enjoy a beautiful state.
20 seconds.
I don't know. I guess all I want to say is that so many lives, especially here in Portland and in Maine, have been irreversibly damaged. And I really just wonder how many more lives have to be damaged before you guys have the courage to say enough is enough, and to end these contracts, because this is entirely optional. We don't have to house immigrants and ICE agents in prisons. Thank you.
My name is Al Cleveland. I live in Portland. About 2 times a day, I'm at the Talbot Community School. I'm roller skating in the tennis courts, I'm walking my dog around the school building, I'm swimming in the pool, I'm going to the library. Talbot Community School is literally the center of my community. And Riverton is one of the most racially diverse neighborhoods in the entire state. And Talbot Community School is where kids are playing on the playground till nightfall, running around, enjoying the fact that we have this incredible resource that's both a school and a community center all at once. And last Thursday, ICE agents came to when parents were dropping off their children and kidnapped a parent in our school and community center. and our entire neighborhood is terrified. Kids are walking to school going like this. Parents are not bringing their kids to school. It is absolutely terrifying what is going on at Talbot, what is going across our city and our county. And I'm sure none of you ever imagined that you were going to be public servants when fascism is roaring through our neighborhoods. That probably wasn't your intention. But here you are, and you are serving. And you have an opportunity to be bold and fighters against the rise of fascism that is here right now in Cumberland County. You can come up with 1,000 different legal reasons why you think you can't cancel the ICE contract, but you can. You need political will. You need constituents who are gonna back you up. And we're all here. You can cancel the ICE contract. You can fight any legal path you need to, because your taxpayers who are paying your salaries, who are paying for the county, want you to. This county commission has the ability to do so much more to prevent ICE's presence in the county. You can cancel the contract, and then you can use every resource available in county government to fight ICE's presence in Cumberland County. That means you could leverage the sheriff's department, the county jail. I wonder if we had a county jail that had lots of free beds, wouldn't that be a great place for unmasked kidnappers who are taking people from our street? I want you to use every resource you have available to fight ICE, and your community wants you to. I want to ask specifically what the process is for picking speakers and presenters for the September 29th workshop. I want to ask specifically for directions around how this is going to be communicated to the public, who is going to be speaking, what are the opportunities for community members and impacted people, specifically immigrants in the Riverton neighborhood, to be able to present to you, and what is your outreach to those communities to make sure you can get them at your September 29th workshop so it can be as generative as possible. Thank you for considering.
Before I speak, do you want to answer any of those questions?
At the end.
We'd love to know.
Be at the end when we speak.
You're declining to do that right
No,
now?
I said, we typically speak, we let everyone speak, you all talk, and then we hear all that, and then we speak.
Okay.
We take it in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we'll want to hear about it.
Okay, I made a note.
Great. My name's Miles. I live here in Portland. I've worked in Portland Public Schools and now in South Portland Public Schools. I have students in my classroom whose parents have been deported in the last year. You've heard a lot of stories tonight about the harm that ICE has caused in our communities. We will not allow you to claim ignorance about the harm and terrorism that ICE is wreaking in our communities. Certainly none of us can claim a lack of knowledge about the harm that is being done to our communities. You are in a position of power. You have an absolute responsibility to wield that power to the maximum extent you can to step in front of that harm and make a difference. It's great to hear that there's going to be this workshop coming up in a couple weeks. We all know that at that workshop, powerful people are going to be trying to convince you that it would be too complicated, too difficult, too many levels of bureaucracy to work through to end the contract. We all know that if you choose to take those easy excuses, to hide behind those narratives and stories, that we will see it for what it is, which is cowardice. You can make a difference. You can rise up in this unprecedented moment. You have the capacity to do that, and anything less than that is an absolute dereliction of your duty. Please end the contract. Please do not fall for these narratives of too complicated, too many layers. We won't allow it.
Hi, my name is Eliana. I live in Portland. I was here at the July meeting and spoke with you all then as well. And I'm just feeling like really sad and heartbroken that we're all back here again doing the same thing. And I feel like I'm gonna cry. I'm just like so confused about how you can like sit around and talk about like the hockey team and like all of this random shit that doesn't matter at all and like just keep the people who are like suffering in jails waiting, and like why there's not urgency around that, and there's like an ability to like make decisions about other things so quickly and easily. And I don't really get it. And I feel like if I was having an individual conversation with any one of you, I would be able to feel really connected to you and like understand you and feel like you're a great person in some way. And I'm a therapist and I always find like good things about everyone. And then I'm just confused about why when you're all together, there's this like shield of like non-human vibes. I'm like, that is just like, what's happening? Like, why is the hockey team like getting fucking attention and people are literally like getting stolen from their families? Like, I just don't understand why there's not urgency. Like, I feel like I'm going insane. Like, we all are. I don't understand, like, what needs to be done to make it feel like this is the most important thing that you could be doing right now.
My name is Daniel. I'm from Portland. My great-grandparents were the Seavies. They were some of the first Orthodox Jews to settle in Portland, Maine. They founded one of the first shuls. My dad grew up on Munjoy Hill, and sad to say, growing up, he told me many stories of how it was hazardous to your health to be Jewish on Munjoy Hill back then. He told me stories walking to school of people calling him Christ killer. He took a brick to the back of the head one day. My dad died of lung cancer in 2005. Rest his soul. And I believe that if he could see Portland as it is now, he would be deeply moved and touched at how this city has grown and changed. And that is in such a profound way because of immigration. And to see you people here weighing the pros and cons of protecting the people that have made this city so special, I would think he would be deeply ashamed, and I would think that he would be right back on Munjoy Hill fighting to keep himself safe. And that's what a lot of people are doing here. They just want to be safe, and you have the chance to do that. I yield the rest of my time.
Hi, my name's Nori. I live in Portland. I hope that instead of these comments feeling repetitive or like a slog to get through, that they ground you and bring you closer to the goal of this body, to represent the interests of the folks who live here. I won't reiterate the horrors of ICE that have been described to you over and over again. I just want to point out something about the crowd of folks that are gathered here tonight. We might all be asking you to do the same thing, to make the same decision, but we hold widely varying views. There are folks in the room who see the evils of ICE but can condone the work of local police. I couldn't be one of them. But this issue is bringing us together, and that should say something to you. This is a very commonly held belief, that this contract with ICE is bad for Cumberland County. Where are the ICE supporters? They are corporations, they are fascists, they are cowards too scared to show their faces here. Something that feels true to almost everyone I know is this looming sense of powerlessness. It's false. We're powerful, but some more than others. This is us showing up and speaking to you. That's the kind of power we have access to. Please use the power you have access to make a simple choice and end this contract and make a dent in the harm that ICE is able to perpetrate. Thank you.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Ramona. I live in downtown Brunswick, and I was here at the last meeting, and I'm sure I'll be here at the next meeting at the way this is going. And I want to emphasize that a lot, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but the responses that some of you have given with emails that I've seen about, not wanting to separate detainees from their support networks in the community. A friend of mine had her husband taken by ICE in Old Orchard Beach relatively recently. And, he was in Cumberland County Jail for a little while, but then he was immediately taken out of state. And that's how ICE is operating. They're not keeping, some people are, where they've been taken, but the majority of people are getting shifted all around the country. They're being separated intentionally from their families and their support networks. And we should not be one of these places where people are shuffled off to separate them. That's what's really happening in our jail. And it doesn't have to be. It's been said in some email replies I've seen that, oh, well, we have to take federal detainees. That may be the case. There might be some amount of collaboration that you're legally required to do. I still would say you should be resisting that. But putting that aside, you don't have to have this contract. That is what the ask here is. It is to cancel this contract, none of this other stuff that people love to redirect to when this gets brought up. It is this contract. We want you to stop it now. It only takes 30 days for you to shut that down, and we can stop being complicit in what is going on. Thank you.
My name is Nikki Steninger, and I did not come here today expecting to speak to any of you. But I have lived all over the world. I have lived all over this country. And my parents have sat in your chairs in different states. I have an uncle who is a county commissioner. My grandparents and my parents and my aunts and uncles have all been community leaders in one way or another. And I need to tell you all that times are changing. Gone are the days where you can give us your word for things. Because I am a historian as well. And I can tell you that in a decade, in a century, when historians are looking back on this, when people in other countries, in other walks of life who did not live through these days are looking back on this, your names will be listed. Gone are the days where you can say, this body did this and I was just following orders. Gone are the days where you can say, these were the rules and we were simply following them. We have entered an era where the tally will be taken. And if in a century you want history to remember you as being on the right side of it, you have to make your stand today, tomorrow, this week, or your chance will be gone to have your name listed in the annals where you want it to be. So when it comes to this contract, when it comes to the next blow, the next opportunity to choose whether or not you are standing with or against fascism, you need to act decisively, and you need to do so knowing that no matter what, we are no longer gullible. We are no longer uninformed. And those of us with the most privilege in this world, like myself, are no longer standing by to benefit from that privilege. It is not just the people who are being targeted who are standing up against this. It is not just radicals or hippies or whatever fringe minority you want to credit with being a fringe minority who are taking issue with these issues. It is those of us in power, in our small individual white straight ways, that are standing up and taking issue and saying we stand together. We are communicating with each other. We are educating each other. We are citing our sources. We are doing our research, and we will no longer be taking your word for anything. So make sure that the record reflects what you want the record to show when history went down. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ernest. I live in Portland, and sorry if these remarks are slightly disjointed. I had something prepared, but I'm gonna speak off the cuff. My grandparents were Holocaust survivors. They lived in Czechoslovakia, and they had a dentistry practice. And little by little, things became less and less safe for them. It wasn't all at once. It wasn't like people just, were totally fine, and then the next day everyone was in concentration camps. It was a slow progression. And I like to think that there was a time in the 1940s in Czechoslovakia where something along the lines of this meeting took place, right? My family would not have been able to participate because they were at that time the group that was targeted. But I like to think that there were people standing up for their community when they still could, when there was still an opportunity to, without political repression. And I like to think that there was a body, perhaps somewhat like this one, that heard what they had to say. And I consider myself extremely lucky, and also I consider it my duty to be here today in this role, not as one of the people who is being immediately victimized, but as one of the people who has the privilege in this moment to stand up. And I consider it quite literally in my bones, my duty to be here speaking up as I see fascism creeping into our community. And now I hope that you all feel a little bit of that, of my history right now too, because by me being here, that is a duty that you are taking on too. Obviously, the course of history did not go well for the vast majority of my family, which was eventually abducted and killed in camps. But this is a parallel, but does not have to be the same situation. Please see this moment in the context of historical trends. Please see ICE for what it is. And please see the power that in this moment, for whatever reason, has landed itself in your hands.
20 seconds.
Please see your roles as people who are able to not let history repeat itself here and now. Thank you.
We have two more speakers, counting as individual.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Kristen Schart. I am an educator in the Portland Public School System. Very proud of that. I teach at Portland Adult Education. I teach English to adult refugees, asylum seekers, and immigrants. I want to help put a human face on some of the people who have been targeted by ICE. Portland Adult Education is Maine's largest public school. We serve over 2,000 adult learners. Primarily our students are refugees, asylum seekers, and immigrants. Our students have suffered many horrors, as you heard before, to get to this country. They went through the Darien Gap. If you don't know what that is, I encourage you to look it up. It's a terrible corridor between South America and Mexico that people go through in order to get to this country. In their home countries, they struggled with poverty, injustice, murder, fear, unspeakable things. They got here to this country and they come to my class. They come twice a week to learn English. And English is a really difficult language. We're all lucky we speak it. I think we all speak it. But if you've ever tried to learn another language or you've ever tried to think about how to learn English, it's so difficult. And my students work nights. They work in really difficult, challenging jobs. And then they come to my class in a day. And they do their homework. They ask questions. And when they get to a higher level, we have an incredible workforce training program at Portland Adult Education, where our students learn to become CNAs, certified nursing assistants, truck drivers, technicians, bank tellers. They are the workforce of our state, of our country. Today, a student came up to me, it's our second class. He apologized as he had been detained and jailed by ICE over the summer. He was not an illegal immigrant, but he had no lawyer. So he'd been detained. In jail, he worked on his English. And now he's working nights and attending my class. He came in with his homework. He had written an essay because he wanted to make sure I understood that he was studying. He is not unusual. These are our refugees, immigrants, and asylum seekers. They are some of the most extraordinary human beings I've had the privilege to encounter, and I am so honored to teach them on a regular basis. And if any of you would ever like to come to Portland Adult Education, of course our doors are locked now, but you can contact me or any of our, they're locked for a lot of bad reasons, but ICE is a big one. If you'd like to come and meet some of our students and see what they're doing, meet the teachers. I know 4 of my colleagues were here, they had to go home probably to do lesson plans. I would welcome you to come and see the faces of people who are experiencing the horrors of ICE. It is not fair, and it is wrong. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Micah, and I'm a parent of children at Portland Public Schools. And on Thursday, I got an email from the superintendent saying that a parent had been detained, presumably by ICE, very close to the school, and that they were doing what they could to support the family. But imagine put yourself in the perspective of a parent who is an immigrant, and the decision you may have to make to either go out in the community and put yourself at risk to take your child to school, send your child with an older sibling or somebody in the neighborhood, or keep your child home from school. And I would like to point out that the federal government has upheld the legality of racially profiling people who look like immigrants. So whether you are within your status or not, people in our community are afraid. They are being terrorized. This is state terror. They are being terrorized by what's happening, and they're having to make difficult decisions every day about whether to send their children to school, whether to go to work, whether to go grocery shopping. And you have an opportunity to uncheck a box and end the contract and make people feel a little bit more supported in their community. Please end the contract with ICE. Thank you.
And then it's a public hearing. So, next is comments from the executive staff. Starting where? Amy, you want to start?
I really have no comment for tonight.
Right. Catherine, do you have anything? Teresa?
No comment.
No comment about the audits?
We have completed the on-site visit. We had 4 days of the on-site audit. We did 1 day at the jail. We did a day at the courthouse for the DA for probate and the garage. And I participated in a day at Cross Insurance. So we are still in the middle of doing that. So the on-site visits have been completed, but the work has not been completed, all of the work. We're working through the fixed assets right now with facilities, so we'll continue on with that. And we have filled our new hire in our department, so.
Can you speak up, please?
I'd like to invite the sheriff and whoever he wishes to come forth and
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've heard a lot today, nothing new. A lot of misinformation. For instance, we should do away with ICE but keep Border Patrol. Well, ICE is the non-uniform part of immigration. Border Patrol is the uniform part that sits on the border. The reality is ICE has a legitimate, it has a legitimate function. There is legal immigration, which there's a lot of it going on, and there's illegal immigration.
Which is a civil
And their task is to make sure that they vet those.
That's not what they're doing.
So if your family was about to get.
This isn't a debate. I listen. I listen.
Do you
I
have
listen.
Do you have stop of
I don't
They're getting raped.
Okay.
Hey, listen, we have somebody at the speaker's voice. You've had your turn.
Does he get 3 minutes?
Stop it.
Yeah,
Does he get 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
No.
So,
Why not?
Okay.
Because he's staff.
So regardless of whether or not there's a contract, I will continue to hold ICE inmates like I hold federal inmates, FBI, U.S. Marshals, DEA, IRS, and I will hold the state and local. By statute, I have to. I will follow the law. I'm not going to violate a law. I'm a law enforcement officer. And what law should I, if I violate this law, what other laws can I violate? I mean, it's,
Hey.
I'm sure there's some of them.
When the law is wrong,
Hey.
it is right to break the law.
you know what, I'll reserve my comments. I know what I'm going to do. You folks can make your decision. I'm holding inmates.
I want to hear what you have to say, please.
Recently, I've gone out to a couple of other individual groups that have had concerns about us holding federal inmates and ICE inmates. And the tone changed when I explained to them, because there's this thought that we hold them in little dog cages, that we sterilize them, and all these other things that we concoct. The reality is, this group actually had a tone change when I explained that they're held just like every other inmate we hold, whether it's sentenced to pretrial. They get the iPads so they can communicate. They get visits. They get fed the same meals that every other inmate in the jail gets fed. Currently today, we've got 35% of the 59 we're holding are Portland people that have stayed in Portland. So they've had the connectivity of the University of Maine Law School, immigration, ILAP, and the ACLU in Portland, right just down the street. So the reality is that by state statute, by Department of Corrections requirements, I cannot turn away any arrest. I'll follow the law. We've heard about what side of history you want to be on. Derek Chauvin will be known as a police officer that violated the law. Kevin Joyce will not violate the law. I got elected to protect this county, and I hold it firm. Thank you very much.
Immigrants.
Vote of no confidence for Sheriff Joyce. Workshop, they're not gonna hear it because we're gonna adjourn because we can't even speak, so.
You answered my questions about the workshop.
Now you want me to speak?
Yes. We gave you an opportunity earlier.
But we got a bunch of no comments.
I'm waiting for my proper turn, according to the agenda, to speak when, after the staff has spoken. I'm following through what the agenda says we're doing tonight. I'm not doing anything different. Do you have any other staff person to speak before I do?
And I don't appreciate you not having the respect for the staff that we had for you.
The aggression. I don't understand all the
Jim, you
aggression.
got any comments?
The only comment that I have this evening is just to let the commissioners know that today we started the budget process for the 26-27 fiscal year. We started quite early on the sheer fact that we need to deliver a percentage increase to the towns by end of February, and so kind of pushes us to start it in September each year. So we're hoping to either bring forth a proposed budget to you either on the October meeting or the November meeting for you to remand it to the Finance Committee so that they can move with their project and their process over the winter months, ultimately making a recommendation back to the county commissioners. So pretty lengthy day of budget reviews today. We'll do it again tomorrow, and off we go. Thank you.
that-
No, I'm still under Jim's wing here,
Okay.
so I'll just defer to him.
Commissioners? Jim?
I just have a couple of comments. First, I think that we're going to have a workshop. Those aren't magic events, but we're trying to bring a number of diverse people here. We certainly want to hear from the immigration service that has been created by the University of Maine Law School. There's an organization called ILAP that we want to hear from. The ACLU Maine chapter is interested in being here. That would include, I'm sure, plenty of people who reflect fully some of the witness that has been borne here tonight. Not probably likely to applaud and scream quite as much, but they are the people that I trust to have an informed outcome idea set about a very serious matter. And frankly, I sit here not believing that if we uncheck a box in a friggin' contract, that's gonna accomplish a goddamn thing. And so, well, I actually know how it comes out, by the way. I do respect the fact that all of you have come out to bear witness about this. And there's one other thing that has bothered me for a couple of years. It's something that we dealt with because we were asked to rearrange some facilities during COVID that would have helped in a certain way. The children who were born in Maine, in Portland really, at Maine Med, this didn't even count the children born at Mercy or Northern Lights. But for the latest year that they had a hard count, there were 500 children that were born to immigrants who were not documented in Portland, and I think it was in the year 2023. Those children are citizens of the United States and of the state of Maine. And it has always bothered me a lot that the process that we have involving the national immigration solution has required that American citizens, as required and certified in the Constitution that was adopted in 1787, that those people are forced to either lose their parents or lose their rights. They belong here. A lot of their parents belong here as legal applicants in various ways. But I encourage you to understand, I'm a lawyer, I know a complicated legal question when I see it. One of the most complicated sets of scenarios, because there has been crap added upon crap for the last 150 years, is immigration law. It is Winston Churchill once described Russia as, a mystery inside an enigma inside a puzzle. And this is immigration law in the United States is much worse than that. So I would encourage you to stay involved. I think you people are barking at the wrong tree when you come here. But we have some things that I think we can do, but we need to do the smart thing. And that's where I stand. And I know some of the other commissioners have the same point of view. And checking a box on a contract, it actually would have almost no practical effect whatsoever. So, no, it would mean that we would be participating and even lose the control that we have now, but whatever. So I defer.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, redirect us.
Oh, no, it's my turn to speak. I I want to thank you all for coming and speaking. I heard some really great stories and some good facts and figures, and I appreciate that. I too come from immigrant background. You guys who've been to these meetings have heard my stories of the Irish and were chased out of Ireland by the Black and Tans during the revolts. And my grandfather, who died as a result of Klan activity in Monument Square in Portland back in the 1920s, the early 1920s. So I'm just going to tell you, if I were queen of the world, as I used to say in my town council days, I mean, I would ban ICE. I don't like ICE. I don't like what they're doing. I think it's horrific. They're breaking the law as far as I'm concerned. We've got all sorts of problems with what's going on in Washington, D.C. today. If it were me, I would shut down ICE access to the jail tomorrow. However, my turn, guys. I used to teach high school, I'm gonna warn you, okay? I'm gonna send out detention slips. And I'm looking forward to the workshop on the 29th so that I can get more knowledge and information about what we can or can't do as a board. And I agree with Jim. I mean, yeah, it's real easy to say we can uncheck the box. Great, let's do it. But we would still be required by law, state law, to take in those people detained by ICE, because it's state law. So, that being said, a couple of ideas for you, because as Jim said, I have to agree with him, in some ways you're barking up the wrong tree here. There's a nice detention facility in Scarborough, Maine. I was on the town council when they built it. It's in the industrial park. The road out in front is public property. Just saying. Customs and Border Patrol is not a mile from my house. I could walk there. On Gannett Drive in South Portland. There's two places, public roads in the front. I think it's extremely important to reach out to federal officials, all federal officials, and keep hounding them about, and in writing, because believe it or not, actually writing does make a difference, keep up the pressure. I am asking you to reach out to your own personal legislators in the state and the governor's office, because they control the Department of Corrections, regarding the county who have been detained by any arm of law enforcement, and ask them to relook at what they've got there, because that's the statute we're dealing with. Keep up the pressure. Please come back on the 29th and behave yourselves to listen and to learn more, as I plan to do. But thank you.
Yeah, my comments pretty much fall in line with the attorney across the way. And with the Marines. Staying active is important, but a lot of this, unfortunately, is state level problem, and getting involved with the legislature, getting involved with those people up there. If you want to change the law, they're the ones that have to do it. As the sheriff said, I don't see any path to define the law. It gets us all in troubles, it gets us all in court, and it takes the path down the road that you never find an end to. But Augusta is the people in there, the ones that can change what the regulations say. And unfortunately, we can't. Thank you.
Commissioner. Thanks. And thank you for your comments.
So before I have comments for the end of the night, someone asked a question, and they'd asked if we were going to answer that question. So I'm going to do my best to try to answer the question, and I might lean on our co-commissioners and county manager for this. The question was, by someone who spoke earlier, what about this workshop? What is this workshop? We need to know more about the workshop. Great question. So here's what I know about the workshop. We all have heard that it's 9/29, so it's Monday, the fifth Monday of September. The meeting will be here. I'm assuming, correct, County Manager? Or?
I think it's gonna be a to be determined right now.
Okay, so it's to be determined only because I think there's a crowd limitation. Tonight, we had some folks who were not even in the meeting, they had to shuffle in this way. We're trying to accommodate the amount of people that we think will come. It's hard to always tell, no one sends the, I'll be there, but our goal is to include everyone. So I would think it might be here, but it may not be because we need a bigger venue. Always, when we have a workshop, the agenda for that workshop will be posted on our website on the Friday prior to that Monday. Is that correct? So, there's a place to look. Go on our website the Friday before the 29th. You will see the agenda. That's when we always put an agenda out before we meet. The Friday before the meeting or the Friday before the workshop. So, that's a little bit of information. Who's going to be here? I think we're trying to create, as Commissioner Cloutier said, try to find the right amount of folks who will help us understand all angles of the issue with respect to all angles of the issue. So as just a general, I had sent an email as one commissioner just saying, I want to know about the legal requirements. I want to know about the contractual requirements. I want to know the financial implications. I want to know the cultural and community impacts. I want to know about where specifically people are coming from. I don't need to know their names, I don't need to see a picture, but are they coming from Berlin, New Hampshire? Are they coming from Deering? Are they coming from Rhode Island into our jails? I want to know who is coming into the jail, so I understand where our tax dollars are going. So I want to know that information, I want that data. We have not had that yet, so hopefully the workshop will fill in the blanks. It's been very clear since we've been meeting in August. I so appreciate all the stories and information that you've given us. It's been a lot of information. I hear you. I empathize with you. Everyone is in their own marginal bubble if they think about who they might be. We're not all privileged based on potentially where we come from. I really appreciate all the stories about people's grandparents, where they came from, and who they're voicing for. If you're a privileged person but you're voicing for someone else, absolutely. That's what neighbors do for one another. So I applaud all of you. I applaud everyone who comes to public comment. It's an important part of how we exercise our rights, our respectful rights for one another. So I want to just say a thank you to that. So until we have everything set with who might be here, you're welcome to email us to say, I think ILAP should be here, as Commissioner Cloutier mentioned. I think ACLU should be here. We want to try to do our best to get a well-rounded conversation. The reason for the workshop, initially when it was first discussed, was we all know you all want a vote on the ICE contract. Am I right? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm right. Okay, great. So to get there, and this is just part of like what we would do with anything, to be honest, when we have a matter at hand, we want to make sure we understand all levels of what we're voting on so we can, in our minds, say, this is what I'm voting for. So the workshop helps inform us with other areas of this question that maybe have not been answered yet. There's some conflicting information. So the goal is to better educate all of us, to be on the same page of what we're hearing, and then each commissioner needs to vote with his or her own sense of what they feel is right to do. And I think just like you have your right to come here and speak to your truth, the same holds for us. So that's the goal of the workshop. And I hope I've answered most of the questions. If I haven't, send me an email. I'll do my best to try to answer things. If you know contact from ILAP or ACLU, if we need help like that, we'll take all that information. But we're trying, at least I'm saying, we're trying our best to do that. And I don't know if a commissioner has any other information about the workshop or people or anything like that.
Got a couple of comments.
Okay, of course, yeah, you'll have your question. So I hope I've answered that question. So I think that's the main thing you probably wanted to hear from me. The other thing is, my last comment is, and I said it before, I appreciate public comment. I want public comment. I love being a public servant. some days are really hard. Some days are so unanticipated. I don't know what I might be facing, but it's part of the job, and I understand that. So thank you for your time that you gave up tonight to be here, and I appreciate the respect that you gave, and I hope I can give it in return. Thank you.
How about leaving something for me to say?
You have your own thing. You got it.
Well, has been expressed. One of the things that I've noted here and I've noted on the other big meetings is that there is extreme passion in this group, as it should be, because the issue is tough. We haven't been able to come to a real consensus on what should be done, other than we know that we don't have enough information to make the decision that we obviously are going to have to make. One of the things that Commissioner Smith indicated, and is right, there are other things like the Attorney General has got a position that they have. We have the Department of Corrections that has a position. We have other departments within the state that want to make sure that their position is heard also. All that comes into us because that bears on what our responsibility is to the oath that we took to support the state when we became a county commissioner. Sometimes that is not what any of us, and I know these individuals having worked with them, believe ethically. And there is the real bind. You have a law that you've committed to support in a state that has put forth these laws with the best expectations of the people that have created them, and we're required to support them, and what it's bringing about is a solution that nobody desires. The issue that I see here is, and Commissioner Cloutier brought it up, was if we revoke the contract with ICE, that doesn't mean that this county can not accept the ICE prisoner. What it does mean is that we have to support that ICE prisoner, and so those costs, rather than being supported by the federal government because of our contract, will now have to come out of the taxpayer in the local area. So those are some of the things that we've got to wrestle with. Not your position, understand. Not your passion, understand. But realize there are auxiliary issues that have to be considered. And with that, I thank you for coming, really. I may not look like it when I was handling the gavel, but that is the truth. So thank you. I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's non-debatable.
Thank you.